To avoid the hefty costs of a lawyer, they go online and they try to find the template and complete it themselves. ChatGPT isn't a lawyer and it can make a lot of mistakes.
That's interesting. So we're talking about SMEs that need to deal with some sort of contract, and every time that...
Violeta Skittidi,
co-founder and COO of Formulaw,
specialized in leveraging AI
to offer comprehensive legal services to SMEs.
Companies do not want to get into this process. It's very time consuming. They want to avoid it at all costs. They want to make it as fast as possible, as cheap as possible, right?
But it's risky.
Exactly, it's risky. And usually these companies, we know that ChatGPT trains on people's data. So imagine if you say to a lawyer that we have legal contracts. AI is quite terrifying when it comes to that because
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Made in Cyprus, big entrepreneurial journeys from a tiny island. And today with me, we have Violeta Skittidi from Formulaw. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. How you been doing?
Yeah, very good actually. It's busy times, just like as you said, but trying to make it here.
Trying to make it, try to break it. Right, let's go straight into the topic. So in this show, we had a lot of innovation. We had real estate, prop tech, fintech, even products, B2B SaaS, you name it. We did not ever talk about law.
No way.
Never ever. And because especially in Cyprus, it tends to be, how can I put it mildly, slightly slower than other industry in terms of innovation. Would you agree? And was that one of the driving factor to take matter in your own hands?
You can say that about the Cypriot legal system in particular. I think many people complain about the Cypriot court system, justice system, about how slow it is, how inefficient it is, how long it takes to get a case completed. I think it takes like on average 2-3 years for a civil case. But actually it wasn't like the main factor that drove us to start Formulaw. Actually it happened when I was at university in London studying law, and that's where I met Ramsey, my co-founder. We were both studying law and trying to make it there and get a legal job there, but as many people know, the competition in London is extremely high.
Can you imagine?
So in a way, Formulaw kind of started as a joke. We wanted to create a company or a project that distinguished ourselves as candidates for applications and getting a job there.
So it was a personal branding project in a way.
Yeah, exactly. It was a way to improve our CVs and stand out from the crowd. And it did start as a joke, but then we did really see that there is a huge gap in the market, in the legal market. The legal market at the time and still suffers from lack of digitization and efficiency. And as people who also worked in and did internships here and there in small businesses, we kind of connected the dots that businesses do suffer from lack of contract management, and it suffers from legal system for these businesses is very cost prohibitive. It costs a lot of money to get legal advice, and it takes a really long time to enter and complete the contract to get into a commercial contract, for example.
That's interesting. So we're talking about SMEs that need to deal with some sort of contract, and every time they're bleeding money.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. And how exactly are you guys trying to tackle that then?
So we're trying to streamline the entire contract management life cycle. So let's say you're Factory 39, you want to enter into a commercial agreement with a client or with into a service agreement.
Oh my God, I'm already sweating just by thinking
exactly.
about it.
it's companies do not want to get into this process. It's it's very time consuming. They want to avoid it at all costs. They want to make it as fast as possible, as cheap as possible, right?
But it's risky.
Exactly, it's risky. And usually these companies, to avoid the hefty costs of a lawyer, they go online and they try to find the template and complete it themselves, or maybe with the help of Google or ChatGPT. I don't know nowadays.
ChatGPT.
Exactly.
I'm speaking for a friend.
Yeah. But as you said, it's very risky, and ChatGPT isn't a lawyer, and it can make a lot of mistakes. So to help companies do that, we have our own artificial intelligence model that we have developed in-house, training it on real contract data. So it's not trained on random contracts that aren't verified by lawyers. They are actually trained, the machine is trained from real data. And that makes it very secure. It makes it more legitimate, and it kind of eliminates that risk factor. So as soon as you try to create the contract on our platform, you can essentially, to do that, you just put in a prompt describing what kind of contract you want, what terms you want it to have in legalese, so like in normal language, just like you would in ChatGPT. You press enter and a contract is generated in a matter of seconds.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's the first AI that speaks proper legal.
Well, we are trying to make ourselves the first AI, but I think we do have competitors. They're just more hidden in the market. We have Harvey AI, which is sort of ChatGPT for lawyers only. But it is only for lawyers. It's designed for law firms.
You guys are designing it for the SMEs.
Yeah, we are designing it for small businesses that don't really have the means, the funds to contact lawyers, and they rely on generic templates that they find online.
Absolutely love that, because we are, as Factory 39, we are a company that works a lot with high-risk markets as well. So fintech, iGaming, so that's verticals that we are really deep into it now. And a contract at the beginning, they're usually the element that delays the project the most. And from a financial perspective, it costs us money that originally we did not even account for. When we were making the proposal, we did not account that we're going to have back and forth with their lawyer and our lawyer, and we don't have someone employed in-house, so we have to rely with someone else. So that email ping pong that happens on the contract ends up costing us a lot of money that ends up affecting the project revenue. Yeah,
exactly. That's one of the issues that we found, especially when interviewing companies like yours. And that's another feature in our platform that eliminates this huge problem of going back and forth. Because as soon as you create the contract, you essentially invite the other party to collaborate. You can review the contract on the platform. So instead of going back and forth, you do it on the platform. And the parties are even given dynamic suggestions and analytics about what they can do to avoid potential risks, who has the most bias in the contract. You can identify redlined scenarios. You can get a summary of the contract and the summary of the clauses. So it essentially tries to eliminate the legal knowledge gap that companies have without the presence of a lawyer and without wasting all that time and money.
That's brilliant. I see no SME in the world disputing this. What is the perception from your legal peers?
It's kind of a mixed feeling. There's some lawyers that are very excited by this because they themselves are passionate about technology and AI. There's other lawyers that are quite traditional and they see huge concerns with privacy, data security, and the potential risk factors of AI in general with legislation, because it's still a very gray area. And legislation in the EU is developing. Some of it has already been developed, but it's just very risky. So they don't know how to approach it. They want to be very risk averse about AI.
And where it's interesting because you guys are full on into AI as a proper tool, as long as it's trained in specific terms. So how far are we from AI being fully adopted into law, into legal?
Honestly, I don't think it would ever be adopted fully, and I don't think it would ever replace lawyers fully, just because lawyers provide this human element, empathetic element that clients relate to and are able to work with in a better way.
Yeah.
And it's something that AI probably cannot provide, at least for now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it ever will.
Yeah.
Because it's a machine, it's a robot. Who would empathize with a
Yeah.
robot?
It's a tool that can make our life easier, but at the end of the story, there is also a relationship element that cannot
Exactly.
be excluded from the relationship from the legal expert and the client.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the most successful lawyers are personalities that are able to connect with their client and are able to find a negotiation between two parties in order to resolve a dispute or a difficulty between them.
Yeah, 100%. And why did you guys pick Cyprus?
Honestly, I'm from Cyprus, and Cyprus is where I grew up. I went to school here. I did study in the UK for around 7 years, and we did start Formulaw there originally. However, starting a startup there is very difficult, just because there's a lot of competition. It's a big, there's a very difficult threshold into making it there, because it's very saturated with startups. It's one of the biggest startup markets in the world, after the US, basically after the US. So to get an investor to notice you, to get an accelerator to notice you, it's basically impossible unless you have insane connections and you try to network as much as you can. So actually it was our decision to come to Cyprus to kind of initiate our journey here, just because the market for startup is very ripe here and it's growing at a very fast pace. There's many people who want to help startups like ourselves and promote technology startups especially. We have Tech Island, which is the community helping startups and IT companies grow. And we were part of Highrisk. That's where we met.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were very welcoming. They were very helpful when it came to helping us grow and kind of achieve our goals.
Yeah. So it was like a smaller, cozier, but growing ecosystem that you thought as easier to take advantage of at this stage of the journey,
Definitely.
right?
I think it's easier to grow here as a startup. It's a very small market, but it's a great starting point.
Mm-hmm. And building up on that, what do you think is a further perception difference than Limassol and London? Because like if London is like a full mature ecosystem, Limassol is kind of upgoing. What do you think are the pros and the cons between the two?
Well, for sure, because Limassol is so small, you can't really grow to the fullest potential that you want as a startup, like as a company. That's one of the disadvantages. But at the same time, that's something that London is missing. It's not that friendly to startups. It's a very hostile environment. But if you do have some success and you're able to get clients and grow like as a business, the market there for clients and customers is much bigger, obviously. When it comes to the legal world, I experienced that in London it's also equally as conservative, but at the same time there are many companies that are trying to innovate and are very excited by the prospects of AI making their businesses more efficient.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would have never thought that even in UK the legal is conservative, because like for me it's one of those industries, one of those few industries that is still missing that Uber, the Airbnb, right? That disruptor. And sometimes even on brand project and marketing project that we're working ourselves, we always involve the legal team. And sometimes they might be perceived as a barrier to innovation and disruption. Why do you think it's so?
Well, I think it's because the legal industry is so pro like confidentiality, data security, compliance, and AI is quite terrifying when it comes to that, because let's imagine. I mean, we know that ChatGPT trains on people's data. So imagine if you say to a lawyer that we have something that does the same, but for legal contracts. It's terrifying. I mean, we found a way to mitigate that with the use of technology. So our artificial intelligence model doesn't train on on clients' personal data. So maybe there is a way to change their minds, but I think initially, because AI is still pretty new, in legal at least, it's quite terrifying for them. But I do think that they are going to change their mind at one point.
Even if we're not talking about AI, though, have you seen any other form of technological advancement into the industry?
I mean, you mean in fintech and biotech and all these industries?
Mostly in law, mostly in legal. Is there something else? Like, is there any other innovation up trending in the market except AI?
Except AI, at the top of my head now, I can't think of anything. I mean, electronic signatures, like DocuSign, that's something that is booming right now.
And that's universally adopted,
it's adopted universally. It's not just in the legal world. But there are talks about smart contracts, and that's the philosophy of which we are trying to adopt into our platform at one point, because we want to automate contracts and make them self-executing, to notify parties when they have obligations due, or automating payments through escrow. So that's something that we are going to implement at one point.
Yeah, and going into at one point and expanding that a bit better. Like, what is your vision for Formulaw?
Well, we definitely aim high to just become the one platform that SMEs use for contract management.
Right. So you want them to be
globally,
on top of mind. Like, if I have a contract, I go immediately from there.
So the legal ChatGPT, basically.
Interesting. And do you find Cyprus as the perfect place to launch that?
Yeah, why not? I think it's a lot of companies that we've spoken to are very excited about the idea of Formulaw making their business more efficient when it comes to creating, managing contracts, reviewing them, signing them. Everyone is also excited about the fact that it's more affordable than going to a lawyer. It saves a lot of time. So a lot of people have signed up on our beta, our minimum viable product version. Yeah. And they're waiting for us to launch, and we're actually launching soon. So
how soon?
Within the next month, actually.
Brilliant. So and how long have you guys been working on?
Actually, on the platform itself, 6 months around. Right. So we've been full on development mode for 6 months, and we are launching.
And out of these 6 months, which was your number one learning in building a product? Because this is your first product you're building, yeah? Yeah. So tell me about that.
You mean the process of it?
Yeah. Well, like, what was the biggest learning you got out of this journey?
I think just sticking with your idea. Once you have something good, don't doubt it. I mean, obviously, you're gonna pivot many times in your life as a startup. But definitely, when you get some negative feedback from someone, like whether it's an investor or a potential client, then just try to go with your gut, or just try to make sure that your knowledge is there, and just like someone negating it and pushing against it doesn't mean that you're wrong. Because as a first-time entrepreneur, I noticed that someone's opinion can really affect how I think about my business, and sometimes it does affect my perspective on its success. But I don't think anyone knows your business better than you, so you have to stick with it.
Yeah, it's true. it's you have to develop a thick skin.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
You have to believe in your baby and keep pushing. Were there any times in these 6 months that you said, fuck, it's too much?
Yeah, honestly, like even yesterday we were debating about whether we were targeting the wrong market at one point, because we spoke to this angel investor and they were like, they gave us some feedback that we didn't really like, or because we're literally launching our product in a month. So when you're so close to the finish line and someone tells you, oh, this is wrong, you need to reevaluate like your target market or something, then obviously it's a bit hurtful, because all the progress that you've made, you feel like it went to the bin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not that.
It is not that. I think everyone has an opinion, and I think especially in Cyprus is one of those markets where people believe in something that is highly believable in a way. So you need to get into a level of people talking about the product, noticing the product, to then get even more traction. And what are you guys working on at the moment beside the product?
You mean aside from Formulaw?
Yeah, no. Aside from actual building the AI and training the model, what are your current focus?
Just expanding our reach. Like when it comes to our marketing, we're also to launch the product, we also have to design a nice website. So we're also doing that, like aside from training the model and developing the main functions of it. But yeah, like I think it's a very big thing to get your product known to the market. So that's what we're trying to do now. Yeah,
and you're talking to angel investors as well. I guess.
We're talking to angel investors, because we're trying to secure some funding for the further development of our product, because right now we're launching with only 2 features out of the 6 that we have.
Right.
Or we're planning to develop, because it's quite an expensive product to develop.
I can imagine. Can we talk about these other 4 features, or they're top secret?
Yeah, so the first one is the contract drafting.
Yeah. Which is what you said before. You go and you prompt it, and you can either start from scratch or start from an already kind of existing draft.
Yeah. It's a contract drafting, contract review. It's the e-signatures.
Yeah.
Then it's the contract automation.
Yeah.
And then it's a dispute resolution.
Interesting. Tell me about that. How is gonna
dispute resolution? Yeah. So that's something that that's something that we notice no other competitor of ours has, this function of bringing mediation and dispute resolution into the platform. And we are essentially doing it because we know that many businesses get into disputes, and that's something that actually prevents them from getting into a contract in the first place, because they're scared of litigation. They're scared of going to court and fighting the other person in case of a dispute happening.
So there is a stall.
Yeah, and that's something that Cyprus suffers as well, because no one wants to go to court in Cyprus.
Because it's going to take ages.
Yeah, exactly. And so we found a solution to invite lawyers, mediators, and experts to essentially resolve a conflict, if there is a conflict. That's at any point of the contract process that you have.
It's interesting. So you still have the contract in the middle, but then you have all these side feature to make sure that this contract is happening, is moving as efficient as possible and as simple as possible for these SMEs as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really interesting. And Violeta, like from your experience in Cyprus, because obviously you grew up here, if you had a magic wand to like move it around and change something, what would you like to see as a change coming into reality? It can be selfishly also from your perspective as a first-time builder.
Honestly, get rid of all the lawyers so we can be the only platform helping SMEs.
So
no,
you
I'm
are.
Joking. No, I'm joking. Honestly, maybe solve the issue with electronic signatures being accepted as a valid form of signatures in courts, because that would obviously make our life a lot easier.
Interesting. So tell me a bit more about that, because we use electronic signatures all the time. So if something happens in that electronically signed contract, this is not going to go into court.
Well, according to European regulation, electronic signatures are valid, but
Right.
The Cypriot system still hasn't really adopted that.
Right.
If you do get into a dispute and you take that contract to court, they can take it into consideration, but they might not really accept it.
Wow. I have no idea.
It's a bit of a gray area. Like I'm not 100% updated recently if there's been any change, but I think everyone would be talking about it if there was a change. So
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a difficult situation for electronic signatures.
It's interesting because from my perspective as a company owner, I thought that they were widely adopted because we used that for the longest time. I did not know that, so we need to look into that. So you would suggest people to just sign it on paper?
Yeah, I would strongly suggest that, especially because I mean, I'm a lawyer in Cyprus as well. I'm qualified as a lawyer, and because I also work at a law firm, that's the common practice is to not sign electronically. It's not identified as a valid signature.
Right.
Because usually you also need, for some type of contracts, you also need witnesses to sign.
Interesting. And Violeta, as a first time low tech founder, how important is product from 1 to 10?
I think 10, honestly.
If you don't have a good product, you don't have any.
Yeah.
Team from 1 to 10?
Also a 10. I think without a team, you basically don't have a product.
Location?
Like an 8.
Brand and marketing?
Brand and marketing, like 9.5, 10.
So, and how do you prioritize? Because you have lots of very high scale.
Yeah.
Where so you say that starting from a good product is the benchmark.
Okay, no, sorry. I thought you meant in general, but
no. In general, I think I'm totally in agreement with you. But from your perspective, where did you guys started as a primarily the main focus?
Honestly, we had a lot of pivots. So we started as an online marketplace, connecting lawyers to clients, and now we're at this current position,
right,
as a legal management.
So it was following some sort of product that was gonna bring benefit in that market. Yeah,
we always had the focus of kind of democratizing the legal industry for customers, like whether it was B2C in the beginning and now it's B2B.
Yeah.
But essentially we always identified that the legal industry is very traditional, stuck back in its own ways, conservative ways, and it lacks a digitization.
Yeah. And is your product ready to be utilized outside of Cyprus as well? So you said that you were launching in a month. So is that a local launch or is that a European launch?
Because our product is our contract, our AI model is trained on common law jurisdiction principles. So these principles are adopted in the UK, in the US, in Cyprus, in the UAE, in some jurisdictions of the UAE, and in Asia, actually. Yeah. It could be adopted in those jurisdictions. However, because you need a lot of marketing budget, we realistically can only afford to market ourselves here and a bit in the Middle East in order to just get the first few clients. But our aims are to try to expand globally to these common law jurisdictions.
Makes a lot of sense. Violeta, thank you very much for your time. If people want to find out more about what you do, what's the best channel?
To go on our website, formulaw.ai, and sign up to our product.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with your launch. Good luck with the startup. Since the beginning we met, you caught one of my trigger pain points immediately, because I was telling you everyone needs a simpler, smarter, more efficient way to do legal contracts, and it's not about replacing lawyers. It's about empowering these processes to just move faster and better for SMEs, because these type of projects and products and law in general as well should empower businesses to grow versus being hiccups along the
versus
journey.
stifling their business. Yeah.
So I wish you all the best, because there is much need. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
See you next time, guys.